Um, M2. I took this apart last night and figured out what the problem was. And I'm going to take it apart again and show you what I did. You are going to want to have a spanning wrench. There are spanning wrenches that are cheaper that don't work as well. You need these pointy parts to come to a point. There are some that just go straight down. That is not going to give you the proper spacing to get into these fine, closely together screws that require that. Okay, so basically everything on top of your camera is a screw, and you will need the right tools to take that apart. This is a screw, this is a screw, this is a screw, the whole cold shoe is a screw, this is a screw, these are screws, and there's a little black screw. They were manufactured with a wax seal over that, so you need to pick out the wax to get to that seal. And I think those are all of the screws. So, yeah, let's take it apart. Forgot to mention, you will want to make sure that there is no film loaded inside your camera, because you are going to want to be able to get inside for a thing that I'm going to show you in a second. Also, pardon my fingernail length. I'm in quarantine and have kind of been letting myself go. So gently take this guy off. There's a little black metal ring. You will see a different black metal ring later. Make sure that they stay separate. They are different sizes, but just to be sure. This little screw in here. Undo that. And this whole thing comes off. When you take this off, be careful. There are two little metal ridges on a different piece underneath of it. Now, for me, when I did this the other day, I had another ring sitting here that was meant to be placed underneath this top plate. When I put it back together last time, I accidentally put it in the wrong spot, which was causing, every time I advanced it, it was causing it to just jump all over the place. Like, I would advance one frame and it would jump 10 frames, and it was really weird. So that's that. Keep that guy safely put. This whole cold shoe mount there's a little thin metal plate right here that goes with that guy. Just keep that in a safe spot. Now this is probably going to be the hardest part, taking this off. You want to maybe use your finger or something kind of flat. The prong that the film cartridge goes up against is connected to that, and it will not unscrew unless the prongs inside are staying completely still. So actually I'm going to use my finger, just kind of rest. They're sharp, so it might hurt your finger depending on how tight this screw is. Now, thankfully, I did this yesterday, so I left everything kind of loose, but you're just gonna do that, unscrews that. These can be put on really tight, so yeah, whatever. This guy comes off. There is a second metal ring just on the outside. That needs to come off as well. These are also going to be kind of tricky, and I will show you why. If you look closely, there is a chrome ring on the outside, and then there is a kind of golden silver color ring on the inside. Depending on how tight they are, they will either come off separately, like that, and then this will still need to come out. Or, let's see, this one was doing it yesterday, so maybe it will, yes. Or it will come out as one piece. Now when these go back in, they will need to be set. Does come off. You want them to be separate because they need to go back in, but they can't go in too far because then this ring won't attach back. It's kind of like these should be thicker, but they're not. Whatever, you'll figure it out. And the top plate should just come off. You might need to get a little screwdriver under here. The pins on the flash sync terminals stick out a little far, so kind of pop that under there to get it over those. And gently slide that up. Voila! Now, just a side note, because I fucking hate that Leica did this. The viewfinder. I wear glasses, and it is impossible to see the 35mm frame lines, and it's almost impossible for me to see the 50mm frame lines. This little window is held on with 2 screws. The camera will focus. Held on with 2 screws right here. Just take that off and you can actually see the frame lines so much more clearly. Just 2 little screws on this side over here. And just keep it in a safe place. It makes shooting these so much easier. This metal ring, thin metal ring right here. It lays right there. It is bent, kind of as to make it act like a spring. You can kind of see. So this ring puts pressure on all the other stuff that's happening up here. And it kind of puts pressure on a gear here this is the film counter gear, all these individual clicks. So it puts pressure on that and keeps everything down and keeps everything aligned. If that ring wasn't up here in the wrong place like I told you, and it was down here, I would take it off, make sure everything's clean right here. Maybe if you have a little mineral oil, put a drop around it and just kind of spin it. But also just take a thumbnail and on all of the little indentations on this ring, I would just give them a little bend to kind of increase the tension that the ring gives, because it could have just gotten flatter over time. Don't be too forceful, but just very gently kind of do that, and just lay it back on there, and put it all back together. When you're putting the top plate back on, you will want to make sure that the rangefinder is down like that, because the top plate will hit against that, and you don't want to mess with any of that. So I'm just going to actually put a lens on it as I am bringing it back down, and focus it to infinity so it's back as far as possible. And watch out for those flash terminals on the back, kind of get them over that hump. These metal pieces that go around the lens, they actually fit. They don't butt up against this. They go behind this ring. This metal ring has like a 2 millimeter indentation around it that this is meant to slip behind. So do be careful with that. Okay, let's put that lens back on. Alrighty. I'm just gonna put that back on for safety. Let's start with this guy since it's in the center. Fitting it on can be a little difficult. There it goes. Okay. Now you want to line up this little metal bump with the metal bump in there. Get back under there. It really hurts your finger. So if you have a really flat piece of something that's long, that will work. Now setting these is a little tricky. I don't screw them in all the way. That's all you really need to know. Okay. Alright. Also, anyone wondering, this is an M2. It just doesn't say M2 because this is the top plate of an M1.